All right. We have enough of our friends here to get us started. It is March 8th, 2022, and today is International Women's Day. And I got up this morning, I had cleared my calendar to make my post because Jennifer Evans had been on two meetings with me and reminded me to make sure and make this a day that we think about this. And I thought a little bit how disingenuous it might be of me just posting as a male in a privileged position about International Women's Day. And I think it matters. I think we should all be involved in and talking about diversity. And so I think that's why this matters. But I thought, man, and ladies, it would be so much better if I actually brought some of the strong women executives and some of the leaders in our company at PAX 8 on to chat about their experiences around International Women's Day, but around really it's about diversity and feeling included and seeing a company that is doing the right things. And so, as usual, we'll go around and kind of kick this off. And if anybody that's here right now would like to introduce themselves, that'd be great. We'll start with ToryJane, and I will actually do a little bit of the intro because she is our security rock star who runs our world here at PAX 8. So I figured you might not call yourself that, but I was.
So thank you for that. I would not call myself that. I understand enough to know that I should surround my people with that are smarter than me, and so they're the real rock stars. But yes, I'm ToryJane, and I've been with PAX 8 unofficially for 2 years. My first year or so was as a contractor, still in the security manager role, and this is the second job that I've had since and I don't want this to be all about that, but since I came out as a transgender woman. My first job was at a 132-year-old company, and it was atrocious. PAX 8 is incredibly diverse in their thinking and accepting, and I am so grateful that I found a place here, because everyone, I have not ever talked to anyone in the company at all levels that's not accepting and encouraging and willing to hear my voice. So
That's
the
awesome.
end.
And Jennifer, since you're here, and I know you have limited time as well, Jennifer Evans is actually the one that brought this to my attention and actually has led the campaign inside PAX 8. So Jennifer, do you mind introducing yourself and kind of talk about the theme of International Women's Day this year and your efforts and what you're leading inside PAX 8 around that?
Yeah, of course. And Matt, thank you so much for putting this together. This is amazing. So I love the extra platform. But just a little bit about me. My name is Jennifer Evans. I've been working at PAX 8 for a little less than a year now. And this is actually the second company, security or technology company that I've actually worked for. And I noticed PAX 8, like Tory said, very inclusive, very all about making everyone feel welcome. Well, my previous position, when I came on in sales, I was one of two women, and there were probably about 20 guys there. It was definitely the boys club. And anytime in tech, it's boys club, majority men. You're jumping on conversations with your partners, MSPs, they're majority men. And so just being able to get out and show everybody, hey, I'm a woman. I know what I'm talking about. I belong here. It's just something that I've been trying to accomplish my entire career. So this year, Women International Day, I wanted to make sure that, us women, we have a platform to speak on, that we can hashtag break the bias, because that is the theme this year. So I wanted to make everyone aware of that. And here we are today having this podcast. So pretty awesome stuff. But bias, it's whether deliberate or unconscious, it happens. Not everyone means to be, but just things happen. You don't realize you're doing it because you don't know what you don't know. So it does make it very difficult for women to move ahead sometimes. And, we knowing that bias exists just isn't enough. So we need actions. We need people out there. We need people speaking about it and, doing the power pose, which for everyone out there, the power pose this year. Do it, share it. Sharing is caring.
I'm going to screen cap this. So y'all go ahead and do this because it's going in my picture later. So let's go, Jennifer. Lead it.
All right. So you want to stand firm, right? Power. And then you're going to take your arms and cross them across like this. You can smile, you can frown, you can do whatever face you like, but this is the power pose. Simple, right?
Let's go, Tom. Strong. so much. That was
Um,
perfect. That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Jennifer, thank you so much for leading the effort. It takes us thinking about it, right? Like I know I'm guilty of bias. There's no way to doubt that. It's very hard to come from a, being a man that's been privileged in that space. I'm generally accepted in business, and it's hard to take and see perception from the other side. And I really appreciate the efforts here. So we now have Robin that I'm going to introduce. You're the center wheel on our family, or whatever this is. I can't remember the squares. Oh man, Brady
Pretty
Bunch.
much.
That's what I was looking for. Thank you. Robin, go ahead and introduce yourself and talk about your thoughts on inclusion in PAX 8 and diversity.
I've been officially with PAX 8 since October, contracting 6 months prior, compliance manager, and I've been in technology, wait for it, since the 80s.
Fair enough.
And it's been very interesting. And I came in through that, like the IBM world and that whole experience. And it's been very interesting because trying to play in a male dominated environment, what I tend to see is some women abandoning their feminine nature and going more masculine in order to rise. And what's beautiful is to see a woman be able to be a woman and be powerful still. And so I just love PAX 8. I've not been here that long, but it's the cream of the crop. It's got so many things that it's playing differently. It's a very authentic company, and it offers a space for people to really show up regardless of their gender or preferences or beliefs. It just allows people to show up 100%. And that's a model. If you can push that out into the world, if we
Sure.
can somehow inspire that like a ripple effect.
Like edify it, you might say.
Beautiful.
Oh, sorry. Apologize.
That would just be beautiful, because enough companies are not doing it. Enough companies are just not doing it.
Agreed. Actually, it's funny. So we'll kick over to Cromar here in a second, just because you did say authentic and genuine. And I think that's such an important topic, right? I think it needs to be an authentic company. So I love that term.
Right.
And Ryan strikes me as a fairly authentic guy. But I actually have a stat. So these are hot off the presses, still on a notepad piece of paper from our DE&I team. But we actually, at PAX 8, have 34% of all the managers and above right now are women. Right. So from just a statistics perspective, we have 9 VPs and SVPs. We have a female on our C staff. We have 19 directors. We have 48 managers that are women. And I know that I'm still talking about a third. I understand that is an inequality, and I get that statistical delineation. But I am very proud that when I asked to quantify it, like, we had the numbers, we care about it. It's actually something that's being discussed. Like, it's fantastic. Yeah. Cromar, would you introduce yourself, and then we'll kick over to Kirby, and then we're going to save the Queen of Canada for our next featured spot. So soon to come.
Yeah. So Ryan Cromar, some of you folks have seen me on previous streams. I'm the marketing guy over here at PAX 8, and seen PAX 8 kind of grow from what's interesting. It's this infantile company to this international company who's brought in folks from different regions of the world, different backgrounds, different nationalities. And I think that's what's really cool about a place like a PAX 8 is we really have embraced this international culture of our differences. And I think it's been a really cool experience being work from home, because we've done such a great job, in my opinion, of keeping everybody connected and kind of getting everybody together, even though we're, across the pond or across the globe. And I think with things like International Women's Day, it's a similar mindset of let's talk about this. Let's do something about this. Let's showcase the people at PAX 8 that are a part of this culture. Like, I just think that's really, really cool. And I don't want to name any names, but, having worked at previous tech companies, these kind of conversations don't exist. And it's really easy for me as a white male to say those things. But, when you're female and maybe you don't feel like those conversations are being had, or you're not being seen or heard, that's brutal. And
Yeah.
you feel really great to work at a place like a PAX 8 where, I hate to just toot our own horn, but you really do feel like these kind of moments organically happen and don't feel pressured. Like no one's making us post this stuff. No one's saying, hey, let's go make sure we've got all our social media tied into international.
Yeah, I reached out to each of you gals at 12
just,
minutes ago, right?
Yeah,
and asked you guys to join me.
Exactly.
So thank you so much.
That's what this place is all about. I think it's about the people and the organic relationships, and that's what this situation is right here, right? It's Matt reaching out to a team of folks and saying, "Hey, let's showcase some kick-ass ladies here at PAX 8."
We had ToryJane for but a moment, but we're gonna go ahead and
hey, someone's got to keep PAX 8 secure while Matt's out here.
All seriousness aside, like that job is a monstrous task, and ToryJane is amazing. So like that one is she can leave and come whenever she wants to go. I don't care. I'm happy to have her. Okay, so Dom, go ahead and quick introduction. Then we're gonna kick over to Queen of Canada. And then we're going to bring in the Queen of Microsoft and her court with us as well. But thank you so much for being here, ladies. Dom, go ahead and kick off who you are. Everybody should know you pretty well.
Yeah. I'm Dom Kirby. I'm a manager of cloud solutions. I oversee some of our talented pro services engineers. I would say like tech is my favorite industry ever since I was a kid. Like I'm just infatuated with tech. But what I've learned after being in tech is that we have our demons, right? And it's still very, very prevalently.
I don't talk about my demons generally, Dom. I try to leave those alone.
Talking about our industry's demons.
Good. Okay.
Yeah,
scared me for a sec.
And Jennifer hit the nail on the head that we're in a very male-dominated industry, and not a lot is being done about it. Like it just is what it is. You see issues with companies like Apple, like one of the biggest tech companies on the planet, competing to be the biggest. They have a major problem. But, PAX 8, again, to touch on, Robin's genuine and authentic comment, we genuinely and authentically care about these things, right? There's not very many other companies that are blasting the entire organization saying, hey, International Women's Day is coming up. Here are things you didn't know about. Here are statistics, right? And to your point about we track, the diversity across our leadership teams and across the organization. And in fact, internally, those stats are part of a broader report that, it's for us internally to see, but we see a whole heads up picture of the entire organization and diversity across every category in that organization. So while it is a third, from what I see, and I'm very active in the Twitter sphere and things like that, I definitely genuinely feel that PAX 8 is ahead. And more importantly, I think we're proactive about our statistics, right? We have them, Matt, you can make a call and get them, but we also say that's not good enough. Right. Yeah. And you see that every time they release that quarterly report, it's a little bit more balanced. And I do mean a little bit, right? We're a big organization now, but it's a little bit more balanced. So I feel very grateful to work in an organization that cares about these things and has entire teams that work on these things.
Outside looking in, and this is my potentially own ignorant view, but I think so. The coolest part of PAX 8 to me is it looks like a bunch of humans that got together, all pushed towards a goal. And there wasn't a cap of who rose where and what. Like, if you look at it, you have VPs, you have executives, you have people leading this team that were women, not because we had some giant DEI push, but because they naturally rose to that level and that was accepted and they made it to that point, right? I don't know what it took for Marianne to get, crowned Queen of Canada, but I have that on fairly legit sources that Marianne's official title is Queen of Canada. Marianne, do you want to introduce yourself and kick us off on your thoughts on inclusion? And I won't hold it against you that in our Canadian team, obviously, right? My friend, I'm going to get punched for that next time I see her. Oh, no audio. Goodness gracious. We're going to clap this one out.
It's okay. We're good. We're good.
Okay. No clapping out necessary.
So at home, I like to be referred to as Her Majesty.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect.
Her Majesty.
We continue that. I mean, it's across the board. But so I'm Marianne Louvet. I'm the Director of Sales for PAX 8 in Canada. Little fun story of when I first met PAX 8, probably going back 5 years ago. I had just spent a couple of days with some girlfriends of mine doing a Habitat for Humanity. We were 9 women that got together and we took part in this amazing initiative to support a single mom who had fled an abusive relationship and was starting over with her child. So we were in there and I'm covered in cement. I'm using a drill to mix the cement, whatever it's called. I don't even know what it was, but we did this and it was a blast. And I had shared this on LinkedIn. And while I was on the call with Pax8, we were waiting for one of my partners to get on, and I was explaining to them what I'd been doing for the last couple of days, that I was still trying to get cement out of my hair. I can't remember who it was, but somebody went and grabbed that screenshot and imported it into the presentation to the partner.
Oh, that's
and I thought,
awesome.
oh my gosh, these people, amazing. So, when you look at us as an organization, and, as a mother of 2 daughters, I was raised by a very independent mom as well, who grew up in the war with not a lot, but wanted to make sure that her daughters had the right tools for success. And she made sure that my sister and I always had everything on our own, that we did things on our own, and that you're able to do this on your own. Ask for help when you need to, but you can do this on your own. So it came to me very young, and I'm hoping to be instilling that into my girls as well now. But when you look at us as an organization, it's amazing to see the support we have, and it's across the board. And it doesn't matter, who you are gender wise, or I think Robin, you had mentioned as well, what your beliefs are, what your choices are. We support everybody in this company. It doesn't matter. You're.
They even tolerate me, Marianne.
They even tolerate you.
Right? It's crazy.
How can we not tolerate that lead? But it really gives us the opportunity to be ourselves, and to really kind of carve out that niche of where we want to be with our career. It's not, you're earned into where you are. And you said something, Matt, about, doesn't matter what level you're at. No, it doesn't. You're elevated in this company based on how you step up and you engage with other employees, how you do your job. It's not based on who you are. It's based on what you are capable of doing. And the other thing too is we empower people to do even more. Like I look at some of the roles that I've had in the past. I've had tremendous women leaders, and I was talking about this earlier. Some of my mentors that guided me to be where I am, to be able to get out of that shell, to be able to, there was that book, oh my gosh, Sheryl Sandberg's book, where, sit yourself at the middle of the table, always. I never used to do that. I used to always kind of sit there in the background, and that book just kind of pushed me to, yeah, you know what, I'm going to sit right here. And I've always done that. And that's only been probably in the last 7 years of my career. It took me a couple of years to figure that out. But that's one thing, we always have a seat at every table with Pax8. Whether it's with our partners, with our vendors, whether it's internally, we have that seat front and center. Always. So definitely Pax8, we do a great job of supporting each other.
Well, we are all humans. I feel the sex delineations or choice delineations all turn into dust at some point. So why not be equals?
Right.
I brought in some amazing other executives as well. I think the queen of Microsoft would be aptly shared between these two, but Lindsey Hoffman and Kristen Fehrenbach are some very public, just like Marianne, figures in our women's executive space. And so would you two take a turn introducing yourselves and what your thoughts are on inclusion around Pax8?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having us on. Lyndsay Hoffman. I'm the Senior Director of Microsoft Programs Global here at Pax8. Microsoft alum myself as well, and I'll let Kristen go after this. I think all up inclusion for us, as Marianne hit the nail on the head. I think people are people.
She did, like epically.
Like,
yeah.
There's no way to follow that. Yeah, I think it's encompassed in everything that you said, Marianne. I think that, all up, just seeing people for their authentic self, for the diversity of not only just who they are as a person, but their perspective and the way that they process and their types of innovation, and just the layers of color that we all have as just being ourselves and from our life experiences. And I think being able to have that type of value, not only because, being heard and being seen and having a place at the table, but then to be valued and to have those types of things almost wanted to be pulled out of you. Like, everybody wants to hear what you have to say, and will continue to dig even deeper for you to be your authentic self. And I think, being at Pax8, I just hit two years last week. I've never lived in a role or an organization as authentic as I have at Pax8 ever in my life, even at Microsoft for almost 5 years. I think that that says a lot about the culture and us just having the ability to meet each other where we're at as humans.
Well, and your bold personality, just on a personal note, Lyndsay, blows
Right.
my mind. Like
Yeah.
I love you. So like that is honestly one of my favorite attributes from the day I met you, right? Is just how big you are. It's amazing. So
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Kristen,
Hello, hello. Thanks for the invite. This is amazing. I am Kristin Fehrenbach, Director of Microsoft Go-to-Market Global. Excited to jump in. We have been heads down all week. Microsoft making
yeah,
good changes.
month, quarter, year.
I'm here still. I'm here still. So no big deal. You know, came into PAX 8 from Microsoft as well, and I loved Microsoft. I loved working there, and jumping from somewhere that a lot of people just like, that is their goals. They want to go work at one of these big companies, right? And bailing from there and joining PAX 8, I struggled internally. Okay. And about maybe 2 months in, I sat down with Lyndsay and I said, this is the best decision I have ever made. I came in like a wrecking ball, asking questions, what's going on? Poor Cromar. I took boot camp right away from him. I mean, I was like,
And it's never been better. I mean, sorry, Cromar. I didn't mean to say that out loud.
I don't know why, but I just envisioned Kristen doing the Miley Cyrus wrecking ball right through PAX 8 doors.
I heard the hymn as you said that.
yes,
if you will.
you know, and that's what it felt like. And everybody was so just welcoming to these ideas and just change and what's happening. And there's never that, oh, well, don't talk to this person. It is literally like, let's get in here, let's work together. It doesn't matter who you are, what you believe in, like you're part of the team and let's roll. So it has been an inspiring year at PAX 8, and I'm super thankful to be part of this team because everybody's just hands on deck, and I have the opportunity to work with amazing people like all of you on this call. So I'm excited.
Well, thank you all for joining in. Kromar, if you want to close us out, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. And I will say this was a very expensive call. There's a lot of very high-level executives sitting on this call, so I want to be very respectful of your time. But I also want to thank each of you, not just for being here for this, but really for driving a equal world, right? And I think that is probably, I'm going to tear up, but that is probably one of the most amazing things about PAX 8 is that we genuinely have a bunch of great humans that work with us on a day-to-day basis, and great day to honor your efforts and struggles that I will never know. And so I appreciate each one of you.
I love that Matt asked me to close out and then does the tearful, amazing.
I'm tearing up, so shut up.
Yeah, Cromar, one up that one, no big deal.
Break out your dog, bring the dog in.
No, I'll just say this. It's really cool to be a part of a place that really promotes conversations like this and bringing people like this together. And other companies would have said, this is a very expensive phone call. We're not going to be doing this. And
Right.
instead we said, we are going to do this. And I think that's a very good thing.
Thank you all so much for being here. You're all my friends. See you guys and gals.
Thank you.
Bye, gang.